Have you ever wondered what really drives people to get up each morning and do their best work? Why do some people seem naturally motivated, consistently performing at high levels, while others struggle to stay engaged, despite the rewards dangled in front of them? For decades, we've been led to believe that the secret to motivation lies in external rewards, bonuses, prizes, and recognition. But what if we've been approaching motivation all wrong? In Drive, the surprising truth about what motivates us, Daniel H. Pink reveals groundbreaking research that turns our understanding of motivation upside down. Pink argues that the traditional carrot-and-stick approach no longer works in today's complex, creative, and intellectually demanding world. Instead, he unveils a new model of motivation built on autonomy, mastery, and purpose, factors that tap into our intrinsic desires to learn, create, and contribute meaningfully. Ready to discover what truly drives us? Let's explore the surprising truth about motivation. Chapter 1. The Puzzle of Motivation. Why Traditional Rewards Often Fail. Daniel Pink begins by setting the stage with a story about an experiment conducted at MIT where students were asked to complete a series of tasks. These tasks range from simple mechanical skills to more creative and cognitive challenges. The researchers used varying levels of monetary rewards as incentives, assuming that higher rewards would lead to better performance, just as economics and common sense would suggest. And in fact, when it came to the simple tasks, money worked as expected. Higher rewards led to better performance. But when the tasks required more complex thinking, creativity, and problem-solving, the opposite happened. Higher monetary rewards resulted in worse performance. This experiment, which was replicated in different settings and with different participants, revealed a puzzle. The traditional if-then reward system, the idea that if you do something, then you'll get a reward, works well for straightforward tasks, but it often fails for tasks requiring higher-order thinking. Pink refers to this as the mismatch between what science knows about motivation and what businesses typically do. Pink argues that many companies and organizations continue to rely on outdated systems of motivation, believing that money is the primary driver of performance. But in today's world, where jobs often require creativity, collaboration, and problem-solving, these old-school incentives can actually reduce motivation, stifle innovation, and undermine long-term performance. To understand what truly drives people, Pink urges us to move beyond the simplistic idea of carrots and sticks and to dig deeper into the psychology of motivation. What the research shows is that human beings are not simply motivated by external rewards. We have an innate desire to learn, grow, and create. The key to unlocking this internal drive lies in understanding the deeper, intrinsic motivations that fuel us. Chapter 2. The Rise and Fall of Motivation. 2.0 From Survival to External Rewards. In this chapter, Pink traces the evolution of human motivation, from the early days of survival-based behavior to the modern-day reliance on external rewards. He introduces the concept of motivation 1.0, the basic biological drive for survival. In the early days of humanity, people were motivated by the need to stay alive, to find food, shelter, and safety. This type of motivation was purely reactive, driven by necessity. As societies became more complex, however, this basic survival motivation was no longer sufficient. Enter motivation 2.0, a system that added external rewards, like money, grades, and status, as the primary motivators for human behavior. This approach dominated during the Industrial Revolution, when workers were paid for their labor and incentivized with bonuses or promotions. It worked well for jobs that were repetitive, predictable, and required little creativity. But as Pink points out, the nature of work has changed dramatically over the past century. Today, more jobs require critical thinking, creativity, and collaboration. Yet most businesses still operate with a motivation 2.0 mindset. They rely on extrinsic rewards and punishments to drive performance, assuming that people will only do the work if they're properly incentivized. This model, Pink argues, is increasingly outdated and ineffective in the modern workplace. One of the problems with motivation 2.0 is that it often leads to what Pink calls the 7 deadly flaws of traditional rewards. These include diminishing intrinsic motivation, reducing creativity, encouraging short-term thinking, and promoting unethical behavior, such as when employees cut corners to meet a bonus target. The research is clear. While external rewards can work for simple, routine tasks, they often backfire when applied to more complex, creative, and intellectual work. Pink concludes the chapter by suggesting that the world of work needs a new operating system, one that taps into people's intrinsic motivation rather than relying solely on external incentives. This new model, which Pink calls Motivation 3.0, is built on the idea that people are driven by more than just rewards and punishments. They are motivated by autonomy, mastery, and purpose. Chapter 3, Motivation 3.0, the new approach to drive. With Motivation 2.0 becoming increasingly obsolete, Pink introduces Motivation 3.0, a new framework that reflects what truly drives human behavior in today's world. Motivation 3.0 is rooted in our innate psychological needs for autonomy, mastery, and purpose. These are the elements that tap into our intrinsic motivation, leading to higher engagement, creativity, and satisfaction. The first pillar of Motivation 3.0 is autonomy. Pink argues that people have a deep-seated desire to have control over their own lives and work. The more autonomy we have, the more freedom we have to choose how, when, where, and with whom we work, the more motivated and productive we become. Autonomy doesn't mean total independence. Rather, it's about giving people the freedom to make decisions, experiment, and take ownership of their work. Pink shares examples from companies like Google, which famously allows employees to spend 20% of their work time on projects of their choosing. This autonomy has led to some of Google's most innovative products, including Gmail. By giving employees the freedom to explore their own ideas, Google taps into their intrinsic motivation and fosters creativity. The second pillar is mastery, which Pink defines as the desire to get better at something that matters. People are naturally motivated to improve their skills, learn new things, and achieve a sense of progress. Mastery is not about perfection, it's about the process of continuous improvement. Pink explains that one of the keys to mastery is the Goldilocks rule, where tasks are not too easy or too hard, but fall within the sweet spot of being challenging yet achievable. The third pillar is purpose. Pink argues that human beings are driven by a sense of purpose, a desire to be part of something larger than themselves. People want to feel that their work has meaning and that it contributes to a greater good. When organizations connect employees' work to a higher purpose, motivation and engagement soar. Companies like Tom's, which donates a pair of shoes to a person in need for every pair sold, are examples of how aligning work with a larger purpose can inspire people to go above and beyond. Together, autonomy, mastery, and purpose form the foundation of Motivation 3.0, a new approach that taps into the deeper, more sustainable drivers of human motivation. Pink believes that organizations that adopt this model will see greater innovation, productivity, and employee satisfaction than those that continue to rely on extrinsic rewards. Chapter 4. Autonomy, the desire to direct our own lives. In this chapter, Pink delves deeper into the first pillar of Motivation 3.0, autonomy. Autonomy, he explains, is the need to feel in control of our own lives, particularly in the areas of work, time, and decisions. When people are given the freedom to make choices and direct their own actions, they are far more likely to be engaged, motivated, and productive. Pink breaks autonomy down into 4 key areas: task, time, technique, and team. Task autonomy. This refers to the freedom to choose what work we do. People are more motivated when they have a say in what tasks they take on, rather than being micromanaged or told exactly what to do. Pink shares the example of Atlassian, an Australian software company that holds Ship It days, where employees have 24 hours to work on any project they want. These periods of task autonomy have led to some of the company's most important innovations. Time autonomy. This is the freedom to decide when we do our work. Pink argues that the traditional 9-to-5 work schedule is becoming increasingly outdated, especially for jobs that require creative or intellectual effort. Flexible work schedules, where employees can work during their most productive hours, lead to better results. He cites the success of companies like Best Buy, which implemented a results-only work environment, ROW, where employees are judged on their output, not their hours worked. Technique. Autonomy. People are more motivated when they have the freedom to decide how they do their work. Rather than following rigid processes, employees should be trusted to find the best techniques that work for them. Pink highlights the rise of remote work, where companies trust employees to get the job done without needing constant oversight or adherence to strict methods. Team autonomy. This involves giving employees control over who they work with. Pink argues that team autonomy fosters collaboration and creativity because people are more likely to be engaged when they have a say in who they partner with. Pink concludes that when organizations give people autonomy in these 4 areas, they unlock greater creativity, innovation, and motivation. People thrive when they feel trusted to make decisions and direct their own work. Before we dive into the next chapter, we have noticed that 72% of you who listen to our video are not yet subscribed to the channel. Please help support our channel by hitting the subscribe button and like the video. Thanks for inspiring us to create more content for you. Chapter 5. Mastery. The desire to get better and better at something that matters. In this chapter, Pink explores the second pillar of motivation, 3.0, mastery. Mastery is the drive to improve, to achieve a higher level of skill or understanding in something important. Humans have an innate desire to progress, to be challenged, and to grow. Pink argues that this quest for mastery is one of the strongest intrinsic motivators, but it requires a mindset that embraces the journey rather than focusing solely on the end result. Pink introduces the concept of flow, coined by psychologist Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi, to explain the experience people have when they are fully immersed in a task that is both challenging and rewarding. When people are in a state of flow, they lose track of time, their work feels effortless, and they perform at their best. Flow happens when the challenge of the task is perfectly matched with the individual's abilities, just difficult enough to push them, but not so hard that it feels overwhelming. Mastery, Pink explains, is a lifelong process. It is not about reaching perfection, but about continually striving to improve. The journey of mastery requires 3 essential components. Mindset. People who pursue mastery must adopt a growth mindset, a concept developed by psychologist Carol Dweck. A growth mindset is the belief that abilities and intelligence can be developed through effort, practice, and learning. Those with a fixed mindset, who believe their talents and intelligence are static, tend to avoid challenges and give up when faced with difficulties. In contrast, individuals with a growth mindset embrace challenges as opportunities to learn and grow, which is essential for mastery. Grit. Achieving mastery also requires perseverance and dedication. Pink highlights the importance of grit, or the ability to push through difficulties and maintain long-term focus on improvement. Mastery is not achieved overnight. It's a slow, often frustrating process that requires sustained effort over time. Those who succeed are not necessarily the most talented, but the most determined to keep going when the going gets tough. Pain of practice. Pink doesn't sugarcoat the fact that the road to mastery can be difficult and filled with setbacks. It often requires the repetitive, sometimes monotonous work of practice. But this disciplined practice, what Anders Ericsson calls deliberate practice, is what leads to true skill development. Deliberate practice is focused, goal-oriented, and involves continuously pushing oneself outside of the comfort zone. To illustrate mastery in action, Pink shares the story of Yo-Yo Ma, the world-renowned cellist who, despite his incredible talent, continues to practice and refine his skills every day. Ma's relentless pursuit of mastery, even after reaching the pinnacle of his career, exemplifies the idea that mastery is never fully achieved. It's a process of constant improvement. Pink argues that organizations and leaders who want to inspire motivation in their teams should foster an environment where mastery is possible. This means encouraging learning, providing opportunities for growth, and celebrating progress rather than perfection. When people feel that they are improving and developing mastery, their motivation to continue grows exponentially. Chapter 6. Purpose. the yearning to do what we do in the service of something larger than ourselves. The third and final pillar of Motivation 3.0 is purpose, a deep-seated need to contribute to something larger than ourselves. Pink explains that humans crave a sense of meaning in their work. Beyond paychecks and promotions, what truly drives people is the feeling that their efforts make a difference, that they are part of a bigger mission. This hunger for purpose is what sustains long-term motivation, especially in an increasingly complex and interconnected world. For decades, many companies and leaders have operated under the belief that profit alone is the ultimate goal. However, Pink argues that a sole focus on profit, devoid of purpose, often leads to disillusionment, disengagement, and burnout. Instead, when individuals and organizations align their work with a larger cause or mission, they create a more powerful, sustainable motivation that goes beyond external rewards. One compelling example Pink shares is the story of Tom's Shoes. Blake McCoskey, the company's founder, didn't just create a profitable business, he built a purpose-driven organization with a mission to donate a pair of shoes to someone in need for every pair sold. This one-for-one model gave Tom's a clear sense of purpose that resonated with both employees and customers. People didn't just buy shoes, they bought into the mission. As a result, Tom's grew rapidly, fueled not only by financial success, but by a higher purpose that inspired loyalty, passion, and engagement from both the workforce and consumers. Purpose gives people a reason to work hard, to persevere, and to innovate, even when the road gets difficult. In fact, Pink emphasizes that when organizations tap into a sense of purpose, they often see greater levels of creativity, collaboration, and overall success. Employees who feel they are contributing to something meaningful are more likely to go above and beyond, not because they're being told to or incentivized by bonuses, but because they want to make an impact. They feel connected to the larger vision, which drives them to bring their best selves to work every day. In this chapter, Pink also reflects on how leaders can effectively communicate purpose to their teams. It's not enough to have a mission statement posted on the company's website. Purpose must be woven into the fabric of the organization, reflected in every decision, and consistently communicated by leadership. Pink recalls the words of a janitor at NASA, who, when asked what his job was, responded not with cleaning floors, but with helping put a man on the moon. That was the level of purpose and connection this individual felt to the organization's larger goal. Purpose isn't just for companies with grand missions like NASA or Tom's Shoes. Any organization, no matter how large or small, can foster purpose by linking day-to-day tasks with a broader, meaningful objective. When people see the ripple effects of their work, when they know that what they do has value beyond themselves, they are more likely to be driven by an intrinsic motivation that sustains them over time. But Pink doesn't limit purpose to the workplace. In life, too, people are searching for meaning. Whether it's through community service, creative pursuits, or personal relationships, humans are wired to seek fulfillment through a connection to something bigger. Purpose feeds the soul and drives individuals to persevere, even in the face of adversity. It's this sense of purpose that can turn work from a mundane task into a meaningful endeavor, where every action is linked to a larger mission. Chapter 7. Type 1 and Type X, the two types of behavior that define us. In the next section of Drive, Pink introduces two distinct types of motivation that shape human behavior, Type X and Type 1. These two terms aren't just categories, they're ways of life that reflect our core drivers, whether extrinsic or intrinsic. Type X behavior is driven by external rewards and punishments, the classic carrot and stick approach. Type X individuals are primarily motivated by money, promotions, and external validation. They work toward goals not for personal fulfillment, but for the tangible outcomes attached to them. Pink argues that while Type X behavior can lead to short-term success, it is ultimately unsustainable in the long run. People who operate under this model may achieve their goals, but once the external incentives disappear, so does their motivation. This results in burnout, dissatisfaction, and an overall lack of purpose. On the other hand, Type 1 behavior is fueled by intrinsic motivation, the desire to learn, grow, and contribute meaningfully. Type 1 and individuals are not solely driven by external rewards. Instead, they are motivated by the joy of the task itself, by the satisfaction of mastery, and by the desire to make a positive impact. These people find meaning in the work they do, and as a result, they are more creative, more resilient, and more engaged. Type 1 behavior is not only more fulfilling, but it also leads to greater success in the long term. Pink uses the example of Wikipedia to illustrate the power of Type 1 behavior. When Wikipedia was first introduced, many people scoffed at the idea of an online encyclopedia written by volunteers. How could something without financial incentives compete with traditional encyclopedias like Britannica? But, driven by a shared sense of purpose and the intrinsic joy of contributing knowledge, millions of people have volunteered their time and expertise to create one of the most comprehensive information resources in the world, all without pay. This example underscores a fundamental truth. Type 1 behavior is far more sustainable and powerful than Type X behavior, especially in today's world. In knowledge-based work, where creativity, problem-solving, and innovation are critical, intrinsic motivation outperforms extrinsic incentives time and time again. Pink encourages individuals and organizations to foster Type 1 behavior by focusing on autonomy, mastery, and purpose. The more people are given the freedom to take ownership of their work, the more opportunities they have to develop their skills, and the more they feel connected to a larger mission, the more likely they are to be intrinsically motivated. But Pink also acknowledges that shifting from Type X to Type 1 behavior is not easy. We live in a world that has been dominated by external rewards for generations. Breaking free from this mindset requires intentional effort, both from leaders and individuals. Organizations must create environments that support autonomy, opportunities for mastery, and a sense of purpose, while individuals must reflect on what truly drives them and resist the temptation to chase superficial rewards. In this chapter, Pink challenges the reader to reflect on their own motivations. Are you driven by external rewards, constantly chasing the next paycheck or promotion? Or are you motivated by a deeper desire to learn, grow, and contribute to something meaningful? The answer to this question can fundamentally change how you approach your work and life. Chapter 8. The 3 Elements of True Motivation. Putting it all together. In the final chapter of Drive, Pink ties together the 3 elements of Motivation 3.0, autonomy, mastery, and purpose, and provides practical strategies for applying them in both the workplace and everyday life. He begins by emphasizing that the traditional carrot-and-stick approach is not only ineffective, but can also be harmful. As we've seen through countless examples, extrinsic rewards may work for simple, routine tasks, but they often diminish creativity, stifle innovation, and lead to lower levels of satisfaction and engagement. If we want to unlock the full potential of individuals and organizations, we need to rethink how we approach motivation. Pink argues that the key to fostering intrinsic motivation lies in giving people autonomy, the freedom to choose how they work. When people are trusted to make their own decisions, when they have control over their tasks, time, technique, and team, they are far more likely to be engaged and motivated. Autonomy empowers people to take ownership of their work, leading to greater innovation, productivity, and overall satisfaction. Next, he reiterates the importance of mastery, the desire to improve and achieve a higher level of skill in something meaningful. Mastery is not about reaching perfection, but about embracing the process of continuous improvement. Pink emphasizes that organizations must create environments where employees can pursue mastery without fear of failure. This means encouraging learning, experimentation, and the kind of deliberate practice that leads to real skill development. Finally, Pink highlights the significance of purpose. When people feel that their work contributes to a greater cause, they are more engaged, more motivated, and more fulfilled. Purpose provides the why behind the work, turning mundane tasks into meaningful endeavors. Pink encourages organizations to clearly communicate their purpose and to help employees see how their individual contributions support that larger mission. To conclude, Pink reflects on the broader implications of Drive. Whether in business, education, or our personal lives, the principles of Motivation 3.0 can help us create more fulfilling, sustainable, and meaningful experiences. By tapping into autonomy, mastery, and purpose, we can move away from the outdated carrot and stick model and create environments where individuals are truly empowered to thrive. As we enter a new era of work and learning, Pink's message is clear. The most successful people and organizations will be those who understand what truly motivates us from within and design systems that nurture this intrinsic drive. Are you interested in reading the entire book? We got you a link in the description down below.